Can we real quick talk about this tete-a-tete, this scuffle, this tiff that went down in the second half, or excuse me, end of the first half there? Because you seldom see this with coaches really having an issue with each other. And on the review, I actually, when they were showing it on television, I was trying to figure out what on earth happened. And then as the game went on, and then you really got that camera view from over the backboard, you could see McCullough hits a three. If he doesn't say something to Shaka, he says something in front of Shaka. Shaka responds. Next thing you know, I mean, Shaka's got like, it's, first of all, I think Shaka said this. What you say? I don't know what was going on. It seemed to explode out of nowhere. Credit to CJ Moore and Kristen Peak. CJ Moore, the Athletic, and Kristen Peak from Rivals. They are both on site. I'm going to give you a couple quotes, and GP, take it where you want to go. Per CJ Moore, Shaka said of McCullough, he's, quote, one of the best competitors I've coached against in a long time. He always just brought an edge that was different, and then he's always kind of enjoyed having a dialogue with me, end quote. The background of that is Shaka's familiar with him because of his time at Texas. McCullough, a longtime player in the Big 12, even predating his time at Kansas there. According to Peak, Shaka said that this whole thing started with a back and forth with McCullough, and then I got more from CJ Moore here, who was at the postgame presser. He quotes Bill Self. Bill Self was apparently asked about what Shaka said. So Marquette went first in the press conference, then Kansas came in. Self goes, quote, I doubt it was accurate, just so you know, and I don't even care. I'm not going to talk about it, but I guarantee it wasn't accurate, end quote. I got one more. This is from Shaka. This is about winning the game and the whole confrontation. It's different when you're not in that league with him. Not that there's not a real respect, because there is. We're talking about arguably the best coach in the past 25 years and a top 2 or 3 program in that amount of time. But there's not a fear. When I was in the Big 12, it felt like they had a little bit of a spell over that league. I'll tell you this. There's a lot going on in that moment. This is my 15th year as a head coach. That doesn't happen a lot, but I'm always going to stand up for my guys and my program. And there was a moment there where I felt like that needed to occur. So do I regret that? Heck no. GP, thoughts, reaction on Self and Smart. This has not been cleaned up, and maybe it doesn't have to. I'm all for a good coaching rivalry and some genuine, you know what? This isn't the worst thing in the world, but your impressions of what we saw there and the subplot to what I wound up being not a ultra competitive game.
Well, before these, and you're exactly right, it wasn't close. I never ruled Kansas out because it's Kansas. I mean, we watched them come back from $1 million down in a national championship game a few years ago. Like, it's Bill Self, it's Kansas. Like, I was never, I mean, I guess I got to the point, there's 3 minutes left. This is over. But, with 10 minutes to go, even 7 minutes to go, I'm like, they could make a run. But it became increasingly clear, like, Marquette was just operating at a different level. Our friend Seth Davis, I think, tweeted last night, Kansas came to play a game, Marquette came to fight. Yeah. And there was a lot of, it looked that way. And I think you can actually trace that straight to, the incident, if it was an incident between Shaka, Kevin McCullough, and Bill Self. I don't know exactly what happened. I was sitting in a hotel room in New York, but you piece it together. I've seen enough of these types of things. The way it typically goes is Kevin McCullough says something to the bench or to Shaka, or to both.
Yeah.
And at that point, Shaka is so into it, he pops back, right? And then, it's classic. What does the other coach on the other side do? Hey, you don't talk to my players. And now we've got a thing. Hey, F you, and now we're going, right?
That's right.
And like I actually don't know the personal relationship between Bill and Shaka. They don't strike me as two people who wouldn't get along, because they're both easy to get along with. But they were at one point not too long ago the head coach at Kansas and the head coach at Texas. Those are Big 12 rivals. Mm-hmm. And so perhaps all of that plays a role in the incident. At the end of it, I think Shaka seemed less bothered by it than Bill. And that just might be.
I don't know if you mean by the end of the exchange of the game, Shaka won the game, so I wouldn't understand.
Yeah. No, by the end of by the time we get to post game press conference, one of the guys is going, "Hey, it's no big deal."
Yeah,
and the other guy is going. And the other guy is going, "Hey, I don't know what Shaka told you, but I guarantee you it's not accurate."
I'm here for that. Let's go.
Hey, I have no idea what the other guy told you, but just trust me when I tell you there's no way it was the truth. is a fabulous quote.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. I love that.
so I loved it. It won't change. I mean, obviously you have to update the rankings. So now I've got Purdue 1, Marquette 2, Arizona 3, Duke 4, Kansas 5. I almost moved Kansas down below Houston, down below UConn. And I certainly, nobody other than Kansas fans would have pushed back on it if I did. But I'll let them figure it out today. Like what's crazy is they got another top 10 game against top 10 team today. And can you imagine having to run around with Marquette last night, and then less than 24 hours later, you got to get beat up by Tennessee?
That's a brutal one. It's a brutal 1-2 anywhere on the schedule. It's a 1-2 in Parrish. 18 hours time.
Yeah,
like that's crazy. That is a big ask of Kansas, and it's a factor of, and you can keep going, but it's a factor of the fact that the bracket television format has changed, and they have the winner side play first, so it can be on big ESPN, and the primary game is going to be in that 5 o'clock window, which means if you're playing for third place and you lose the last one, you've got to wait. You go to bed late, you wake up early. 3 games in 3 days. It's actually a really tight spot for Kansas.
Boy, I tell you, there ain't nothing worse than going to bed late and waking up early. I don't like that.